Rawteur. So, Fromville, let's talk about the dates we keep seeing in From. In season 3, episode 6, Jade is in the room. You know, he's got the faraway tree on a cardboard box, and he's trying to figure out these numbers and these dates. Then Boyd walks in and he tells Jade that he found a piece of paper with the year 1864 in a bottle on the second faraway tree that Jade didn't know about. So then after that conversation, Jade sees a vision of Tom, the bartender, who brings up the Civil War soldier that Jade had seen previously. So that's when it clicked for me. Maybe these dates actually connect to real world events that can give us more clues about what's happening in Fromville. But we're not here to chase random theories. Instead, I want to create a simple framework to help us both look at these dates logically. So in this video, I'm going to lay out each date we've seen in the show so far and explain some of the key historical events that are associated with that year. And then we'll be able to see if this gives us any real clues about Fromville. I mean, this way we're focusing on what's actually in the show and not just reaching for wild connections. First, we have 1506, with the framework question for this year being, could Fromville itself be an unknown place or even a forgotten world? Because you see, in 1506, Christopher Columbus died, and we all know Columbus as the guy who discovered America. Now, in the context of Fromville, this could symbolize the town as a kind of hidden, undiscovered territory, like a lost world, hidden from regular history, waiting to be uncovered. Next, we have 1609, with the framework question for this year being, is Fromville a place for people who've been displaced or expelled, or maybe a place that reveals something we haven't yet seen? Well, 1609 is a pretty big year for two reasons. First, Galileo made a major discovery with his telescope, proving that the Earth orbits around the sun. It completely changed how people saw the universe. Suddenly, we weren't the center of everything. Now, if we think about Fromville in terms of seeing differently, this could hint that the town requires a new perspective. But also, in that same year, Spain signed the edict to expel the Moors because they believed the Moors were a threat to Spanish religious dominance. This could possibly refer to the town of Fromville as a refuge for people who've been cast out. Maybe. Then there's 1672. The framework question for this year is, does Fromville have its own disaster cycle? This year is known in Dutch history as the disaster year. Imagine this. Your country is suddenly invaded by France, England, and a couple of other enemies, leading to political chaos and total panic. The government loses control and people feel like they're in constant danger. In Fromville, this could be a metaphor for the town's own cycle of chaos and unease, whereas everyone's always on edge and there's no clear way out. Now we get to 1752. The framework question here is, could Fromville operate outside of normal time, causing people to feel lost or disconnected from reality? See, 1752 is when Britain finally switched to the Gregorian calendar, and in order to make this adjustment, they had to skip 11 days. People went to bed on September 2nd and woke up on September 14th, and some people even felt as though they've been robbed out of days of their lives. For Fromville, this could hint at time not working normally. It might even explain some of the time loops or strange phenomena the characters experience. Then there's 1773 or 1793. I couldn't really make out the numbers, but the framework question could be, does Fromville symbolize a place of rebellion, or is it a place ruled by fear? If it's 1773, that's the year of the Boston Tea Party. It was a huge act of rebellion where American colonists dumped tea into Boston Harbor to protest British taxes. But if it's 1793, that's right at the start of the Reign of Terror in France, which was a time of intense fear, suspicion, and executions. Now, in Fromville, maybe this represents the idea of rebellion or fear. Are the people there trying to break free from something, or are they being controlled by fear and paranoia? I'm more inclined to the latter. You let me know. The framework question for 1864 would be, does Fromville hold on to past conflicts, keeping old wounds open? 1864 was a pivotal year, or at least part of one in American history, because this was during the time of the Civil War. It was filled with deep divides and echoes of loss that lingered. And again, as I pointed out previously, Jade has been seeing a Civil War soldier. Then Boyd mentioned seeing 1864, and that was the ultimate connection for this framework moving forward. In Fromville, this might suggest that the town clings to unresolved battles, with past sorrows and memories woven into its fabric, making it a place where history never fully rests. Hence all the visions everyone sees, especially Tabitha. Of course, I just said Jade, but also Victor. He's been having a lot of visions. Boyd has visions. There's a lot of people having visions of the past in this show. The framework question for the year 1883 is, has Fromville experienced its own disaster? In 1883, Krakatoa erupted in Indonesia. This explosion was one of the biggest in recorded history, causing global weather changes and massive destruction. For Fromville, this could imply that a disaster either happened already or one that's about to happen at some point in the future. We could be on the verge of something massive happening. Next is 1931, and the framework question, does Fromville embody that sense of hopelessness and isolation? See, 1931 is right in the middle of the Great Depression. People all over the world were struggling with poverty, losing their jobs, homes, and a loss of hope. It was a time of desperation and isolation. This really does feel like Fromville, doesn't it? A place where everyone is struggling to survive, feeling isolated, and hopelessness. Then we have 1978, whose framework question is Fromville a forced community? See, in 1978, there was the Jonestown massacre led by Jim Jones. No, not the rapper. The cult leader who convinced over 900 of his followers to unalive themselves by drinking poisoned punch. Now, in Fromville, maybe this represents both community and control, a place where people are bound together, but maybe for the wrong reasons, or because they're under the influence of something they can't fully see or understand. Before you settle in on your next theory about Fromville, do you actually know what the rules of the town are? If not, this next video will explain the 7 rules of Fromville we know so far.